Welcome back to GameSpot at E3 2016. I am very happy to be happy. That's how happy I am, Dominic. I cannot wait to talk to you. Watchdogs 2. You were executive producer on the project?
I'm senior producer.
Senior producer. And you worked on the first game as well?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Very excited to talk to you. We were talking briefly before we went live about the first game, and it was a game that I think there was a lot of anticipation behind, and some people thought that it fell sort of short of the quality thresholds that we were sort of hoping that game would be. What was it like after the first Watchdog? What was the mood like? There is the old adage that nobody knows more about what worked or didn't work with a game than the people who made it. So what did you guys feel after Watchdogs came out?
Well, after 5 years on it, I'd say we were happy to kind of ship it and get feedback. Especially with a new IP, everybody's going to expect something from a game that might differ from what you're actually doing.
For sure.
Ultimately, it was interesting to get player feedback. A lot of people loved the game and also got some feedback of some things people wanted to see improved. And we agreed with most of those. So that's the good news, is it's not like the feedback diverged from what we wanted to do. So we took that to heart, and we definitely worked on the things that people feedbacked about on the sequel.
Yeah, and I mean, just initially seeing footage of Watch Dogs 2 and seeing the trailer, I mean, if there was a laundry list of things that you think you might change about it, it looks like you are tackling them head on. You have a new protagonist, the world looks incredibly well realized. What were some of the things that you guys wanted to change for Watch Dogs 2?
Yeah, so one of the things was we wanted to have a lighter tone. Obviously, we wanted to change the setting, and right from the get-go, we chose to go to the San Francisco Bay, which has by itself, it's sunny California, it's an open, light-hearted area, so we got that vibe from the setting. And then we built a new character that was from the Bay. So, he's grown up in Oakland, he's got that eclectic, open-minded spirit of San Francisco, and then he's got the smarts and the creative side of the Silicon Valley all brought into one character. So that was one big change. We took a lot of risks in making all those changes.
Yeah.
But actually, it really helped us to push the game forward. And then it was hacking. We needed to make hacking more important, more central to the game, and that's what we put all our efforts in for the gameplay.
Let's talk about the Bay Area first of all. I live in Oakland, and when I moved to San Francisco, I lived there for a year previously. It actually felt like a video game town because it has all of these disparate but connected but very unique neighborhoods all over it. It's almost surprising nobody's decided to do it before.
Yeah, to be honest, it's one of the first decisions we took. And when we started thinking of San Francisco, we're like, no, we can't do. Why can't we do San Francisco? It's the perfect place, perfect driving, beautiful vistas, and there's so much diversity from one neighborhood to another. And then what other city has like a bridge? And then when you go on the other side of the bridge, there's a big natural preserve.
Right, sitting right there.
Exactly, that all the things we wanted, all together. And then obviously with hacking and technology and big data being central to our thematics, having Silicon Valley and all the tech revolution and all the big tech companies set up there, that was even more interesting for us.
So how big is that Bay Area? I mean, I heard it was Sausalito's in it.
Yeah.
What's on the East Bay? Is it just Oakland? Is there Berkeley? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so we went from a small marine section with Sausalito. We have Oakland, but we didn't go beyond Oakland. And then we have San Francisco, obviously. And then Silicon Valley, we kind of scaled it down tremendously. It's a bit of a theme park, Silicon Valley, to be honest, but we kept Stanford, and we brought in San Mateo, and we brought in a lot of the iconic places that people will enjoy seeing.
Do you have people on the development team who are natives of the area who sort of helped you figure out some of this stuff? Because it's quite complicated, the story of the Bay Area.
It is. So we foster the people who come from the Bay Area on our team. They're so important. They keep us real. And we're also lucky because we have a development studio there in San Francisco. So we're getting feedback. We're getting feedback from our colleagues there. We have them play the game, try to find their houses and drive around. And it's testing our layout pretty well. It's going well on that front.
Are the GameSpot or Twitch or IGN offices
You're
in
all
the
around
game,
the same area, right?
It's one street, basically.
Yeah. Well, you can check it out when you can play the game.
I mean, the Ubisoft office is right there as well.
And we're having fun with that.
Good stuff. I know you're obviously going for a lighter tone here, but the story of the Bay Area, and especially with an African-American protagonist, I mean, you cannot talk about San Francisco and Oakland without talking about race issues and also most certainly gentrification. Are you dipping into that at all?
So the reality is, as we're looking at a computer system, surveillance system that do automated profiling on people,
right.
touching on a lot of those subjects. So, you can be profiled because of your gender, your race, your revenues, where you live, but also what you posted on maybe social media 5 years ago. And so we're touching on all those topics. And yeah, gentrification is also a topic we're touching on. It's interesting now to see that people who make pretty good money are being pushed out of San Francisco. So it's not just the poor being pushed out, right? And so those are all subjects that tie into what we're doing. Really, what we're trying to do is to build stories that are grounded in what's happening right now on the Bay. Obviously, we push, bring it up a few notches with really corrupted establishments that don't exist in the real world. We hope, but in the heart of things, we're trying to tie it up in stories and content that people are hearing in the media all the time.
When you finished on Watchdogs 1, did you always know that the second game wouldn't be Aiden Pierce? Did you know that you would choose somebody else, almost Grand Theft Auto style, going into?
No, it wasn't predefined. We thought about it. And the reality is, it's interesting to have a character that's grounded in your setting. So we knew we wanted to change setting, and then it didn't feel like Aiden fitted in California.
Right.
You know what I mean? He had a tragic personal story. He had its film noir personality, which fitted in our rendition of Chicago and what we wanted to do there thematically. But what we wanted to do with Watch Dogs 2 was a lot lighter in tone, for sure. We're dealing with serious topic, but we don't want to take ourselves seriously, because people spend sometimes 100 hours in open world games. So you don't want to be, brooding for 100 hours.
Yeah, fair enough. There's a sort of what looks like a Donald Trump reference there as well.
Oh, you made that link. I didn't. So in that mission, we're actually going to try to get evidence that a politician is using and is working with social media to rig the election. Basically, trying to manipulate people through social media in a not too legit way to get his way and get voted into office.
This mission, obviously, it's a sort of it's happening around this area. Do the missions in Watch Dogs 2, do they spill out into the sort of wider? Are there instances in buildings which then spill into car chases, or that are sort of happening in the open world and not just in specific buildings?
Yeah, and it's a big thing we wanted to do. In Watch Dogs 1, sometimes we forced certain play style, like now it's going to be a chase. Mission 8, the chase. You know what I mean? We're trying to avoid that. So we're creating a goal, and then we're trying to create a system that will surprise the players. So if you play a mission, maybe your target ends up fleeing and it transforms into a car chase in the city. But maybe in my case, I get what I want. You never even noticed, so there was no car chase.
Yeah.
So it's moving more toward a free approach, free planning for the player, and give him the tool to figure out how he wants to do the mission, instead of us kind of forcing a series of specific activity to it.
And then you're also creating, from what we've seen so far, obviously it's only been, it's a couple of trailers and obviously this gameplay as well, but it does really look like the world you've created is a lot more active and a lot more detailed than the first Watch Dogs. So I guess, are you going to have side missions within that world? Do you expect the player to just go wandering? For instance, Marin County, going up there, it's all just, wildlife. Do you expect people to just go around there and explore and find things?
Yeah, not much things to hack into the wildlife, right?
No, not really, as it turns out.
So that was a big thing we got feedback for, and we totally wanted to do also, which is to change the game structure for what we've done. A lot of Ubisoft games have similar structures, open world games, where you have a series of missions, and when you go from A to Z, and that'll finish the game.
Yeah.
And then you have activities and things to explore in the world. So instead of doing that, we have more of a quest structure, basically. And what you're trying to do is build up a movement to overthrow that corrupted establishment. And you're trying to get more and more followers. So you can do that by doing many different quests, and you can find those quests in the world. So in some ways, we're breaking with the idea of main missions and side missions.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? You're exploring, and you'll find quests and missions, and when you do them, you'll get followers, and that'll get you closer to the end. So we don't have to play through the same missions in the same order to get to our goal.
So the focus is that follower aspect.
Exactly. So there are other things you can do, like, I don't know, you can do sailboat races. Obviously, not going to get a lot of followers through that for your movement, but aside from those things that just kind of emerge from the Bay, most of the missions and quests that you can do are focused on getting followers.
You're handing a lot of responsibility over to the player. You're allowing them to hack all these cars. You're allowing them to pick the quest structure. It's quite a massive undertaking.
Yeah, it's trying to give them more freedom. You know what? It's actually interesting, because when you give players more freedom, we also remove some load from our own shoulders. Like for hacking, we used to, we had a lot of things. I'll take an example. We had scissor lift, right? You can bring up and down.
Yeah.
We had to place the scissor lift at the perfect place for it to be useful.
Of course.
Well, now instead, you hack the scissor lift. You can control it, put it where you want, put it at the height you want. So now, we can just drop a scissor lift, and the player figures out how he wants to use it. So in some ways, by giving control to the players, it's easier.
Easier in some ways, but obviously incredibly difficult. Your job is to do. Yeah. You spent 5 years working on Watchdogs. You know, us in the press and the people watching, we don't know how to make video games. Watchdogs looked like an incredibly complex game to make, and Watchdogs 2 looks even more so. What's the mood like in the office going into Watchdogs 2? Do you feel like you've got something to prove? Do you feel like maybe you've learned a lot, or is it just, you know, these games are so big to make, you kind of need that second game to get it right?
It's true. I mean, you need to build on what you've done. I mean, but at the same time, it's funny because we wanted to take risks, so we wanted to, you know, surprise players and refresh things. But you also want to build on what you did right. So you don't want to start redoing things just for redoing things. So getting an extra chance to kind of build on what you did, and most of the core creative team is the same. We brought on new people to refresh the core team, but a lot of the people are the same, and they still have the passion to really deliver on a lot of the things we've wanted to deliver for the past 6 years, which is, you know, cool hacking, control over a city, and a fun open world to explore.
Yeah, well, I for one am very excited for it. Dominic Guay, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
When is Watch Dogs 2 available and on what platform?
November 15, worldwide, PS4, Xbox One, PC.
Good stuff. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Looking forward to playing my neighborhood in and work. My work commute I can now do in a video game. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for watching, folks. We've got loads more games coming up. Tekken 7 is up in a second, actually. Harada-san is going to be joining us in a few minutes. Then we've got Dead Rising 4, Zelda, and much more. Stick around. Back in a few minutes.
You're watching the GameSpot stage, brought to you by Airheads.